Welcome back to Six Quantum Bridge Podcast. This is your host, analyst, and researcher, Bernadette. Today, we're diving deep into a question that's been weighing heavy, and I've talked about this a handful of times on this podcast, and I feel like this bears repeating because it needs to be reinforced every now and again because something in my spirit told me to look up a certain person that I had engaged with before. And when I see this person online, especially recently, this person looks very depleted and exhausted, tired, both of having to do the job that they promised to do and of everything that is going on as a result. You would think that whatever demon that this person was in alliances with would try to at least show people a false version of vitality to try to recruit new numbers. But they can't do that because they are racing against time. Let's get into the subject at hand. Are these voices online really trying to illuminate truth, quote unquote? Or are they just swapping one recruitment tactic for another? Today, we're going to be talking about a prominent figure in the deconstructionist space. I'm just going to say the initials. You'll probably know who I'm talking about. RKC. All right. And post Charlie Kirk's death, this person did not touch the fact that he was martyred. They talked about other things like their diagnoses, okay? They pivoted into that. But lately, I feel, honestly, with the knowledge that Leo Skebby, which I love his podcast, check him out when you get a chance, in an effort to try to get to the same numbers and reach and influence that he has, this person has had to resort to despicable takes, namely mocking Charlie Kirk's death. Now, whether you're a Christian or not, a person died, okay? There is a certain amount of morality you have to be deemed decent. And if you're mocking anybody's death, regardless and irrespective if you agree with what he said or not, a person died, is no longer with us. And it's the human morality that is judged here, not your personal stance on whether you believed him to be telling the truth or not. Somebody died for their beliefs. And whenever that happens, us in Christianity, we call that being a martyr. All right. Now, for a while, she didn't touch this at all because she knew it was very sensitive. It just happened. But now, some months have passed and she feels that her numbers are dwindling. She's not able to get the traction that she once had. She realizes deconstruction is something that's dying. So, with any content creator doing what she's doing, they resort to baiting and drama optics. Now, friends, we have to be very cautious about this. She has been doubling down on mocking Christianity and Charlie Kirk's death. And it's all because her optics are collapsing. Excuse me, I'm so sorry. My throat's a little doing something. I don't know what's going on. And since her optics are collapsing, she feels the need to resort to, and whenever somebody does this, you know that they're failing, that they're losing numbers, they're losing traction. Deconstructionists use this like a business tactic, okay? There's a fair amount of psychology that goes into how they recruit. They say that we recruit, but aren't you doing the same thing? What we're doing is planting seeds, my love. It's all over scripture. We're supposed to do this. Are you supposed to be planting seeds? Where does it say you don't believe in anything? You don't believe in the devil. You don't believe in any of that stuff. So where do you have like a concrete list, unless the other document that you're using is something that's the antithesis to the Bible? What text are you reading that causes you to feel that you need to recruit? Because you claim that you're not recruiting, but you're using psychology, business psychology. And let me tell you something. I study business economics, and there's a fair amount of psychology in business economics. Aren't you doing the same thing? You pride yourselves on being so different, but are you really? Because it looks on your face like you're failing. You look like the life is being, and vitality is being sucked out of you. But whatever entity you're working with is going to wring out that mop for every drop that they can. So we're going to be talking about that today and contrast that with authentic testimony. Voices like Leo Skepi, who God is using despite his imperfections. The man has tattoos, he curses, okay, he uses very colorful language, okay? But none of that matters because he represents us, right? And I just got chills as I told you that. Leo Skepi represents Joe Schmo, your average person walking a path. He looks like us. Okay? He is us. He represents the questions that we've had. He represents any doubts that we've had. So you have people like RKC, that people are not resonating with anymore because it's such in stark contrast to people like Mr. Leo Skepi. And that contrast shows very, very starkly. This is a masterstroke from the ultimate chess player that sits on his throne. He knows what he's doing. Nobody is going to what's the word I'm looking for? Nobody is going to embrace somebody like RKC because everything that comes out of her mouth is dripping with sarcasm. There's no truth in it. People love Leo Skeppy because even though he curses and he has tattoos and this and that and the other thing, he represents us on the path. This is why people, whether you're Christian or not, like listening to him. And there's a stark contrast being shown between RKC and LS. And that's in what you're seeing as far as presentation. When you position yourself as a pseudo-intellectual that's above anything that's spiritual, people don't take you seriously, babe. Times have changed, RKC. Get with the program. You're fighting a losing battle, and you're hemorrhaging numbers by the day. So, let's continue. We'll also anchor this in scripture and even in C.S. Lewis's Screwtape Letters, which I have referred to many times in the past in my episodes. Because the manipulation that we're seeing today was foreseen decades ago. Now, let's sink our teeth into this, shall we? Because this is meaty, this is juicy. Let's start with a scripture reference. Matthew chapter 7, verse 16. By their fruits you shall know them. And I'm getting chills as I'm telling you this. When you look at RKC today, you see exhaustion, depletion, bitterness. That's fruit. She's been at this for years, promising numbers she never delivered. Instead of illumination, her fruit is mockery and fatigue. This is what she's been reduced to. Because nobody is buying what she's selling anymore. There's a thirst, a hunger for spiritual nourishment. As human beings, we look for that. No matter who you are and where you are in the world. People can't live by intellectual pursuits alone. You can't intellectualize everything. It's just not possible. Some things are explained through spirituality. It's called duality. No one human being, no matter what you practice as far as spirituality, nobody can just be intellectual with no spirituality presented to them in some way, shape, or form. There's a hunger and a thirst as we speed through time. The other day, for instance, I had one of my days off and, I listen, I'm a homebody. I'm not going to go out unless I absolutely have to or I'm invited somewhere. I like to be in my house. It's a nice house. I've made it beautiful for my aesthetic pleasure, okay? And comfort. And I had realized, I woke up, I was like, I go to look at the clock. And then it seems like it was only 5 minutes that had passed. 2 hours had passed. What the hell happened? Why is it going so quick? It's because of this, because of the rapidness of how speedily time is passing by, that the ones that are working for the devil feel the need to double down and hurry up. So they're getting sloppy and desperate. So they're going to use whatever agents they have. And as I said before, wring out the mop for every drop they can get. And it shows on their faces. This tells you everything about the entity that she's operating with. Here's the thing. Fruit doesn't lie. If the fruit is rotten, the root is corrupted, and she's low-hanging fruit. There's a certain amount of ascension that you have to get to, and it's a process. RKC is available. She's low-hanging fruit, the ones that fall and rot at the bottom of the tree. That's what she is. She's available. Learning the word ascends you, gets you tall enough to reach for the sun-touched fruit at the top of the tree, instead of the worm-filled, available fruit at the bottom. Now let's talk about the psychological manipulation. Through optics. She came from Christianity. She was baptized, raised in the church, and knows the language of faith. That background is being weaponized. Learn to see the manipulation. The devil's not going to use somebody that wasn't baptized. Because psychologically, you wouldn't. Hold on just a second, guys. Coming down with a little bit of a cold. Excuse me. Psychologically, these demons are using the fact that she was raised in the church because they know how psychology works. And they're weaponizing it. They know that anybody that's sitting on the fence of whether they should believe in God or not would probably look at somebody like RKC. Oh, well, she was in the church. Maybe she knows what she's talking about. They know how the inner workings of the brain work. It's psychology. There's more psychology to this than spirituality. And they approach everything through a business lens. It's a psychological manipulation, which is called optics weaponization. And in this case, the optics is the fact that she was born and raised in the church. So they're using that. Well, they'll believe her because she came from Christianity, and she's read books and she's studied and this, that, and the other thing. What they're using, in contrast, is that they know that they probably won't get the numbers using somebody that was never baptized, that wasn't raised in Christianity at all. They know who to use. And it's a baiting tactic. It's a worm on a hook. They know that people would think, oh, she must know what she's talking about because she came from the church. It's psychological correlation, which is manipulation, not truth. If she didn't have that background, people wouldn't give her the time of day. They would dismiss her. The optics rely on her baptism as a prop, not as proof. This is how recruitment works. It's not about illumination. It's about swapping one lane of control for the other. And the manipulation is subtle. It's psychological, not overt. What do I mean? She could have just as easily left this alone, been happy in her little God-free lane, but no. She had to put her face out there. Which shows to me, as somebody that studies psychological nuances of people. Let me tell you something. I could have worked for the CIA, honey. Okay? With the way I am. I look deep into people's psyches, okay? If she was truly happy and peaceful and thriving in her chosen God-free lane, she wouldn't need to have her face out there on the internet. She could have just as easily gotten an office job, been the working woman, making her money for her little family, and just going about her merry little way. But no. She delved into this, and now her face is being drained of vitality. Because trying to get people away from God is exhausting work. It's exhausting. It's depleting. Meanwhile, you have people like LS that are looking more vitalized, stronger. You see a big smile on his face because of the illumination, the light bulb going off. And because the devil is seeing somebody like LS being used, they have to double down with whatever crap they have left in their roster. So they're going to deplete the hell out of whoever they have left in their roster, which is why RKC looks the way she does. Gray. And if you can look at auras, she has a very grayish brown aura to her. There's no color to her aura. So, let's get into the screw tape letters connection, okay? This excerpt is from C.S. Lewis's The Screw Tape Letters. Quote, "It is funny how mortals always picture us as putting things into their minds. In reality, our best work is done by keeping things out." Omission. Quote unquote. That's exactly what's happening here. The manipulation isn't about adding truth. It's about blocking it. Her rhetoric works because it keeps people from seeing authentic testimony, replacing it with cynicism. Your numbers have to be very bad, or you may have plateaued, because I saw her numbers just before opening up this discussion here, and she's plateaued. It's not a lot of growth going on. I feel like it's going down because if I remember correctly, it was in the 600,000 or so. Now she's down to 590. It's going down. And because she's very aware of her numbers and she wants to maintain them or grow them, she does what every influencer that's losing their traction does: resorts to provocation and drama baiting. Because she has nothing left to teach. She's going up against somebody very, very much a powerhouse in his vocals, which in turn is going to turn on her. I'm, quote unquote, I'm just a misunderstood feminist. She's going to lean into that as well too, because he's a man. He's a muscular man with tattoos. He looks very, very quintessentially masculine. So she'll lean into the whole, oh, I'm an misunderstood, oppressed feminist. Please spare me, honey. No oppressed feminist I know has 600,000 or 500 something thousand subscribers on one channel. Let's stop the bullshit. Please stop. Stop it. Stop. Please stop. We see right through you, baby. Another excerpt from the book. We want cattle who can finally become food. He wants servants who can finally become sons. So, what is that? Recruitment versus revelation. She's recruiting for ego. God is revealing through authentic voices. Now, these same people will say, oh, religion, religion, religion. Leo isn't using religion. He's basically placed there as a vocal megaphone to decorrupt religious systems. And then you have people that are coming out there, oh, look at your tattoos. Oh, look at your overly muscular body. Look at the way you talk and how you curse. And please stop clutching your pearls. Let the man cook. Let the man cook. He knows what he's doing, okay? God wouldn't have chose them if he was the wrong man for the job. Okie dokes? Lewis wrote this in 1942, but it's a timeless classic. The same tactics are alive today, but just dressed up in social media optics. Everything with social media is what you see, okay? Now, let's talk about the cultural pendulum. Months ago, even she knew mocking Charlie Kirk's death was a line she couldn't cross. I mean, come on. Now she's doubled down, chasing numbers, trying to bat her way to influence. But the pendulum has shifted, baby. You're fighting a losing game. More and more and more and more people are hungry for God. And there's nothing that you can provide that's going to beat that. The pendulum has shifted. Institutions are now disciplining people for mocking Kirk. The backlash is harsher now. Her miscalculation is clear. Meanwhile, LS is gaining traction by turning toward faith. Imperfect vessel, tattoos, cursing, but his heart is lion coated. God looks at the heart, not the outside. That's why his testimony resonates while hers erodes. Another scripture reference, 1 Samuel chapter 16, verse 7. Man looks at the outward appearance, but the Lord looks at the heart. To my fellow Christians, do not come online bashing this man Leo Skepi for how he looks, how he sounds. Because then you're acting, and I'm going to call out my own peoples, okay? Stop doing that. He curses, he looks a certain way. Let him cook. Let him cook. Let him do his job without you policing the way he looks and the way he sounds. Stop tone policing this man. Let him cook. Aren't we supposed to gain souls for the kingdom? Stop getting in the way. Because you're acting like the Pharisees. I'm sorry, I have to get loud with that because I get mad at my own people. Okay? Stop doing that shit. The reason why people are so against religion is because of people like you. Stop that shit. When I get on fire and when I talk about God and how great he is, you think that a few curse words are not going to fly out of my mouth? Let me cook too. Stop tone policing people. Nobody likes to have a finger wagged at them. So, this is the difference between optics collapse and covenant advancement. Voices like RKC are about recruitment optics. They want numbers, influence, and validation. But the fruit is exhaustion, bitterness, manipulation. Look how she looks now. Every time she gets on a video, her features look like they're melting. Her features were already downturned, but every video she puts out there, more jowls, everything looks like she's melting. She already looks like she's in a lake of fire. She's melting. Voices like LS are about authentic testimony, imperfect, raw, but real. And God uses that because he looks at the heart. This is why people resonate with Leo. He's not recruiting, he's testifying. And that's why his numbers grow while hers stagnate. Her pivot into mocking Charlie Kirk's funeral is a desperate attempt to bait for numbers. She doesn't give a fuck about you. So long as those numbers keep climbing, she don't care what part of her soul she sells. So in closing, ladies and gentlemen, don't be fooled by recruitment optics. Look at the fruit. Look at the heart. Voices that mock grief and faith are showing their fruit. Exhaustion, bitterness, and manipulation. Voices that testify authentically, even imperfectly, are showing their fruit. Growth, resonance, covenant advancement. The screw tape letters warned us. Scripture confirms it. And the cultural pendulum proves it. Recruitment collapses. Revelation advances. By their fruits you shall know them, and the fruit is clear. Some references you can look up. Scripture, Matthew chapter 7, verse 16. 1 Samuel chapter 16, verse 7. C.S. Lewis, The Screwtape Letters. I think you guys should read the book. It's really a good read. Cultural context, recent backlash against mocking Charlie Kirk's death, disciplinary actions in schools and universities, and in jobs as well. People have been fired. In contrast, Leo Skepi's testimony as authentic advancement. Guys, come on. Do you want the worm-filled fruit at the bottom of the tree that's easy to get? Or would you rather put the work in and get the sun-kissed, ripened fruit, sun-blushed fruit at the top of the tree? I know what I would rather get. I'm not in the business of eating worms. Thanks. With that being said, this is your resident smartass. Thank you for listening. Please follow for more. My name is Bernadette, and this has been Six Quantum Bridge Podcast with your researcher and analyst and host, Bernadette. Thank you so much for joining me. I'll talk to you next time.